Good evening. It's a blessing to be here. I'm thankful to speak in front of you guys today, to speak among the young generation, the millennials, to really empower you guys to look within yourself, to see how we can really make a difference, to really impact change. I speak for the millennial generation, a young people who really believe that through the technology and advances that we have in the world today, that we can really make a difference. Today, I want to share a secret with you. My secret, and what I believe is a secret to change. Socrates said that the secret to change is truly in focusing not on fighting the old, but in creating the new. On May 3rd, 2013, I was throwing my last party of my college career. I was a college student. I threw parties, I had to pay the rent. And this was the last day of classes. I wanted to commemorate all the time I spent getting to the University of Southern California. Well, first of all, it was hard enough getting to the University of Southern California. I worked hard through high school and also through college to attend USC, and this was a day to celebrate all that I have worked for with friends, to have a good time. So we threw a party at my house. I invited all my friends, most who were graduating, and some undergraduates, to have a good one last time big party. We partied all night. I even had the party sponsored. I had the party registered. We had security. The event was organized, well planned. 2 o'clock came. Officers arrived at the house, as they do at most college parties. I know here at San Diego State, you probably experienced that. And they said, we need to shut the party down. Fair enough. It's 2 o'clock, need to get people out the house. Officers realized we were taking a little longer than we should. So they took it among themselves to come in my backyard and escort people out the house. As the officers were approaching, I approached one of the officers in questioning what is it that they were doing to come and bombard my house. And at the moment, I felt in understanding my rights that I could stand up and say, I have this organized, students are leaving. What is it that you need to bring these multiple officers back to my house? I guess what I said brought some type of threat, or my statement was so profound that his response could not give me an answer. Immediately, I was pushed into another officer, pushed against the wall, and handcuffed. As I'm handcuffed, I'm escorted out of my house to the squad car. People of my party are questioning, why are you arresting him? This is his house. What did he do? As I'm escorted to the house, people are outraged. And as I see out the backseat of this squad car, my house is now going up in an uproar. LAPD didn't ask for backup, they asked for help. When few officers came to shut down this party, 70 plus officers arrived at my house. 70 plus. What could be going on in the community of South Los Angeles that you need 70 officers to shut down a party that was organized, that had no violence, no guns at all? Meanwhile, across the street, another party was going on. This predominantly by white students. Officers went to that house and told the students to stay in the house and be safe, while they handled us over here. The animals, the criminals, the students of color who were causing all this uproar. The noise complaint that they said came from my house when that house across the street was throwing a party as well. Immediately, as a student of color and many of the partygoers in my house, I'm thinking this is a sign of racial profiling. This is racial discrimination at its finest. The next morning, we're at school. We're in front of Tommy the Trojan at USC, and we're having a protest. I'm speaking up against all the issues that I experienced as a student of being judged, the racial prejudice of being 6% on this campus, but having to prove myself day in and day out as a student of color on campus. We even had a town hall debate where we brought out LAPD in the community. The story spread. I ended up on the front page of the LA Times. It got on NPR. It was national. At this moment, I felt a sense of pride. Yes, I'm fighting for racial injustice, for racial profiling, speaking up for brothers like me. Then I asked myself another question. What is it that I'm really fighting for? And I had to ask myself that again and again. Who was it that I was fighting? What was it that I was fighting? And I couldn't come to an answer. It wasn't LAPD or some type of hegemonic power that I was fighting. I was playing against this invisible power of the white man or this people that say we want to oppress these students of color. I had to question myself again and again. On September 18th, 2013, I went back to my old high school at Helix High and created Be the Voice. This was an after-school program that I started when I realized in high school I didn't know where my voice was. It was through a lot of struggle where I was trying to find identity, who I was, what would I be, that I wanted to create this program so students can find their voice. It was at that moment, September 18th, when I had 10 to 12 students come in ready to write poems and tell the expression of who they were, that I realized what it was that I was fighting for. I was fighting for an invisible power that was within me, not the invisible power that I felt attacked me day in and day out. Not the invisible power of people who felt like they needed to oppress me, that I was against the system, that I needed hoodies up and Trayvon Martin, and we're marching everywhere. Because again and again, we have these riots and these protests, and it's all over the media, and it's propaganda, and we're fighting for this power, and then it dies out. What am I really fighting for? The secret to change is not fighting the old, but finding the power to fight for the new. And that's where I found the power to fight for these students, the invisible power for them to find themselves. That's how I found who I was and the power that we are powerful beyond measure. But first, I wanted to be honest with these students. We live in a generation where we feel like there is a post-racial America, where everything is great. We have a black president. You can get a lot of opportunities. And at this time, people are saying, hey, don't play the race card. And I thought to myself, well, this race card gives me a lot of opportunities. This race card, when pulled over, gets me out of tickets. It gets me into all the colleges I want. Yeah, I even got good credit because of this race card. This race card that I was playing again and again, I'm questioning, what race card is there? And if I have such an amazing race card, why does it not give me all the opportunities and resources in the world? Here are the facts. America has the largest prison industry in the world. It has grown 500% in the last 30 years. 500%. Where America has 5% of the world's population, it holds 25% of the world's prisoners. 25%. And what do these prisoners look like? 60% of all that are in prison are people of color, when we are the minority. Oh, we are criminals. But wait, I'm playing the race card. 3/4 of all people who are in prison for drug offenses are African American. But I'm playing the race card. These are the facts. And again, I found myself locked in this stereotype or this box where I had to prove myself that I wasn't one of them, that I wasn't a drug offender, that I wasn't a criminal, so that I would have to prove myself that I belong to society, fighting against this invisible power. All this time I was focusing on fighting them, but not fighting the power that's within me. The secret to change is not fighting the old, but putting all your energy in building the new. So when I created Be the Voice, the program was not to tell my students that you are oppressed, that you are inferior to anyone, that your problems in this world come from slavery or a civil rights movement. You are powerful. Know your history beyond what they've taught you. You are amazing. What is inside of you is greater than anything you can imagine. Less sentences, more sentences. Write your own story. Do not let anybody write the story for you. The minute you are able to express who you are yourself, they have to accept it. The minute you find yourself subordinate to a power, an invisible power who've told you for the longest that you're lazy, that you're a criminal, by the way you dress, by the way you look, by the way you talk, you are inferior and beneath me, you find yourself in response to a defense where you have to prove yourself. And the minute you feel like you can't prove yourself, you fall victim of this whole system that makes it feel like you are oppressed. So feel powerful in a blank state of saying, don't identify yourself by race or religion or whatever people have defined you as. But in the club, we inspire people to live by adjectives: inspiring, uplifting, powerful, great. Or one student calls himself vociferous. He wants to find big words in the dictionary and claim them. And I said, be vociferous then. And every time in the club, that's how we identify students. Through poetry. They're right and right and right. We talk about stereotypes, congregation. Let's speak for new communication. If not, we'll die of starvation, lay in the dust of cremation. We live in a world that revolves in rotation. We're too spread out. We need a combination. Learn from different brothers and sisters in conversation, for different stylations, for different affiliations, for different languages, for different translations. We come from one foundation, but from different backgrounds of immigration and plantation. Seek out new information instead of using false facts as humiliation, because I came from brothers like MLK who had a dream that Sigmund Freud can even analyze. Where Malcolm X's Battle of the Bullet didn't blast bullets to our own brothers' butts, blasted curtains to millions of black youth. I came from bus boycotts, underground railroads, and martyrs like Emmett Till, who was innocent. Innocence in Project C, where nonviolence was a plea and hope was spoken by leaders. NAACP back to Booker T and Freddie D. I came from lynchings and burnings, from my ancestors working twice as hard just to receive their earnings. I came from an America that have decades kept turning to new hope. Let loose from the ropes, died in the flesh, but came back in the spirit free. I came from a vision of justice that was real. I came from a vision of justice that was real. One of my students published his first book at 16 years old, and it's called To the 15th Power. And I asked him, why did you title it To the 15th Power? He said, because you cannot measure the 15th power. What is the 15th power? You are powerful beyond measure. He told me. I was inspired that the invisible power is not fighting against the system, but the invisible power within us. The fear of change, the thrill of something new. Let me be honest and tell you, I am afraid of roller coasters. Well, I was. Until I came to understand my fear and attack it and say, I can do this. I mean, I was always the one who was shooting the basketball, trying to win the stuffed prizes, or playing in the arcade, hiding from everyone who was going on the roller coasters. I mean, I was scared of the thrill of going up and all the twists and turns of life. I wasn't ready. I wasn't expecting what was to happen. But I realized when I was able to put my hands in the air and just take that one step of enjoying every bit of it, that I was able to be free. And that's where I found the power in taking risk. And to find the power that's within me to just be me. Simple. I mean, you see me in a suit now, but normally I'm in a snapback with some baggy clothes, bumping my hip-hop music through the town. Me, still articulate, still powerful in what I want to say. And if I can inspire other young people to do the same, to not have to conform to a society to prove themselves, then I will teach them that they are not fighting against a power, an invisible, oppressive, hegemonic power that's against them, the white man or whoever, but they are fighting for the power within them. They will realize they don't have to prove anything to anyone but themselves. And that's the power of being you. That's the power of revolution. It's simple. It's love. When you're able to love yourself unconditionally, love everything about you, your body weight, your height, everything, the way you speak, the way you look, the way you address anything, when you are able to accept yourself truly for everything that you are and realize your power, you realize that the revolution is not a protest out here in front of Tommy the Trojan saying, forget the system, forget the LAPD and the cops for shutting us down. You realize the revolution is inner. It's a revolution of love within yourself. That when you're able to walk around, you say that nobody can defeat me. Nobody can put me down. I know who I am. I am powerful beyond measure. And despite all the things that may be happening, of the overt ideas of racial discrimination, that when I'm able to accept who I am, people have to listen. Because I am not subject to what they want to subject me as. Because I don't identify myself necessarily as a black man struggling in America to make it. I identify myself as a powerful human being, a dream seeker, a change maker. I identify myself by those adjectives. And that's what I live by. That's why I inspire my students to live by. So it's your turn to change the world. Here we are at SDSU TEDx, people from all different backgrounds, really coming together to see that if the footprints of those who came before us are respected, and if the footprints of those who came before us can acknowledge the young people and their innovations of what they believe, if we can come together and understand each other, not by any type of stereotype or social caste or any type of judgment, but by a story that I'm able to speak to you today and saying that I am truly just a dream seeker, a change agent, someone who loves love and loves people, that maybe you can accept me and someone else who looks like me, and we truly can really make a difference to begin to make a change in the world, to truly make a difference, to truly make an impact, to love the revolution of ourself and just being you. Thank you.